I want to rip their faces off. That's exactly right. Thank you for using one of my favorite terms.
Are there any parallels to looking for the next company?
Garyvee, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting fascinated by the way your brain works.
If you want building your equity, your brand, and whatever you're trying to accomplish, there's plenty of time. Get shit done. I'm gonna make Monday morning my bitch. The fact that he's at Benrubi is the best. That makes me so happy. Did you get that with me? Like you signed up, Sam, you signed up for at Benrubi with me, right?
Welcome to the Grape Nation, your weekly wine journey. Our guest today is one of my all-time favorite people in the world.
Not one.
Gary Vaynerchuk. We'll talk wine, tech, social media, hustle, entrepreneurship, and a bunch of other stuff. We'll also taste a great Cali Cab with Gary on the weekly wine sip. I'm your host, Sam Benrubi. Stay with us for the Grape Nation on the Heritage Radio Network. We bring wine to the people. All right, fresh out of college, Gary Vaynerchuk, and fresh out of college was a stretch, that's for sure. Gary Vaynerchuk grew his family wine business, the Wine Library in New Jersey, from about $3 million to $60 million in just 5 years. During that time, he was among the first to use the internet to promote the wine store and also created the wildly popular Wine Library TV. He now runs VaynerMedia, one of the world's hottest digital advertising and marketing agencies, serving Fortune 500 companies. Along the way, he became a prolific angel investor and venture capitalist, investing in companies, and maybe you heard of some of these, like Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Uber, and Snapchat, among others, before eventually co-founding VaynerRSE, a multi-million-dollar fund investing in tomorrow's companies. You can also see Gary on a regular basis on the Dailyvee and the Ask Garyvee show on the internet. Gary Vaynerchuk is also a New York Times Bestselling Author.
4 times.
4 times over. It's in the notes. You don't have to tell me. And a very sought-after public speaker, the king of the keynotes.
Oh, I like that.
Welcome to the Grape Nation, Gary.
Oh, the clapping. I like this. Benrubi, I'm super excited right now.
Listen to me.
Yes.
A lot of people know who you are.
Yes.
We're going to assume that our Heritage Radio
Yes.
listeners don't know who you are.
Okay.
You have a very, very interesting and colorful sort of journey to where you are today.
Yes.
And I think they'd love to hear about it. But
In
don't
my
take
world?
like 20 minutes talking about it.
I was doing my first book signing in Columbus Circle. I had a huge crowd, and some weird guy with a huge mustache is like, "You need to be on radio," and he just would never leave me alone. And that is your host here, everybody, Mr. Benrubi. And so that is
the show we did on Sirius,
which was a lot of fun. And let me tell you, listening to his early kind of remarks here, I was way better on the radio than he was.
It was your show. I created it and co-hosted it.
I mean, listen, I brought you in all the time because I needed that crutch, and now to watch you now be the star of your own radio show, I'm very excited. I'm very humbled to be here. I'm also a proud employer of your entire family, and I'm really excited about this. I mean, this is gonna be an all-time classic to watch. But my story is very simple. It's actually quite classic. It's very much a lot of people's grandfather's story, which is my family immigrated from the Soviet Union, and I was a merchant, like just lemonade stands, baseball cards. It led to me being involved in my dad's liquor store. I hated beer and wine.
You were way more active as a kid than most of your friends.
Oh,
There was lemonade stands,
yeah,
baseball cards.
I tried to sell my sister. I mean, I was out of control. I mean, like, you know, my family this weekend, we were celebrating Thanksgiving, and my dad was making the joke that if eBay was around when I was in high school, that he would have come home one day and there wouldn't have been a single thing in the house. I have high energy, no question. By the way, it's driven by gratitude and the understanding of all the opportunities we have. If you're sitting and listening to this and you don't understand the opportunities we have, you know, it's a losing formula, because there's so much opportunity, there's so much opportunity for the ones that understand themselves. I deployed a lot of self-awareness at a young age, which allowed me to be a poor student but hone the skills that have become the foundation of my life, which are people skills, emotional intelligence, salesmanship, business structures. Went on to build, you did the intro, so we don't need to go into that.
But you always made the case that some kids were not built for 4 years of high school and 4 years of college, and parents didn't recognize that. and didn't nurture it.
No,
At least your mom gave you the support and the space.
Perfectly Parented, the book that I will write one day that will speak to how to raise an entrepreneur from an entrepreneur's perspective of being perfectly parented. And yeah, and I think it's interesting, Sam, you know, it's we're starting to see the conversation amongst parents to having an open mind of allowing their kids to do different things. And it's very exciting for me to see because I grew up in the 80s and 90s when going to a good college was the single blueprint. When I was making $3,000 a weekend selling baseball cards but getting a D in science, I was a loser. Today, I'd be on the cover of Inc. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I'd be on the cover of Fast Company right now. And so, it's very interesting to see the world change.
So, this is a wine show.
Oh, okay.
So we got to talk a little about wine.
I'm excited about that.
We're not going to talk exclusively.
No, I can see that. We haven't
But
said a
at
damn
least
thing
if,
about wine yet.
You know, we start with the wine thing. It's sort of reminiscent of wine and web.
Yes.
Where we talked a little about wine and we'll talk a little about social media. But anything in the past, I mean, you want to, I did set you up with that intro, which didn't leave you much.
No, but I mean, you from a wine standpoint?
No, we'll get to that. But anything else?
No, I feel
Okay.
great about everything.
All right, so most of your life was consumed with wine up until not that long ago.
That's right.
You know, I mean, your family business, your dad.
From
you know,
50
you got involved with running the business. The wine library TV was huge. I mean, do you miss that? Or?
Yes, but there's something.
How?
I'll tell you how. In a fun. Well, first of all, I mean, I was literally texting with Brandon right now, writing tomorrow's wine
Brandon
offer.
runs Gary's store for him.
My
His
dad,
whole-
Sasha's store, by the way, if he's listening.
Yeah.
I don't want him to
He'll
kill you, kill you.
Russian headlock.
Listen, I think that a couple things emerged. So just for everybody who I know, a lot of you don't know who I am, from 15 to 34, it's probably the only thing I cared about except for the tail end of baseball cards at 15 and the beginning of technology at 30. So like, it is the core of my life, my obsession, passion of wine, and the wine business. And then what I didn't realize, and this is giving you the answer, I drank a Dalforno Amarone last night. 7 years ago, I would have drank that, and everything that would have been happening in that moment was, who can I sell this to? What's the margin? How do I get more of an allocation? And last night I just drank it, and I'm like, my God, this is really good.
Sort of enjoy
It's
it,
crazy.
savor.
Think about
celebrate.
this. For everybody who's listening, if you grew up in the sports business, for us, oh my God, that athlete. Oh my God, this. You have an amazing media career, right? People would freak when they met Howard Stern. It was your normal day to day. You know, what you learn and what everybody listening knows is no matter what you do for a living, when you're deep in it, you start really easily forgetting what made it magical. You know, you went to Hollywood to make it, you kind of make it. The first 15 times you saw a star, you lost your mind, you text your mom, you called your mom back in the day. That's right. And so what happened was, it was a commodity that I sold. I loved the business. I loved the farmers, the artists, the winemakers. I loved it. But it became my business. It was always only my business. It's no different than social media, by the way. People always ask me, what's my favorite social media platform? I've only known it from a business standpoint. I didn't grow up with one. I went on Twitter and Facebook early to build business, so I've never had a natural relationship with social networks. And so.
But business and personal.
Yes.
Personal is business
for me.
you
That's
too.
right. That's right.
You
And
know,
so
the brand.
and so what's happened the last year or two, Sam, is I've actually become a wine consumer, and it's been fun.
So let's stay on that for a minute. So as a consumer and having the past, are there any trends or anything going on in wine that you've noticed now?
Yeah. So I still keep quite a close communication with Brandon and my dad and know a lot about what's going on in the industry. I think one of the things that's really fascinating to me is, much like I was very right about Burgundy's explosion a decade ago, I'm positive.
What preceded that? Bordeaux?
Yes. And cold California cabs.
It shifted to Burgundy.
Yeah.
Not because of the Chinese, just
A little bit for a few minutes, but just by logic.
Right.
You know, once Parker became not the only voice in wine, people started saying things like,
which we'll get to in a few seconds.
okay, I'm always trying to set you up. You know, what happened was, as Parker became one of the most important voices instead of the only voice like he was for 15 years, along with Wine Spectator. What happened was people started deploying logic, and they said, you know, there's 28,000 cases being made of Chateau Haut-Brion or Lafite, and there's 330 of this single vineyard, you know, Burgundy, and so just supply and demand kicked in.
So that allure of collecting.
Because don't forget, Parker got kicked out of Burgundy. There was a lot of controversy there.
It was a Cali Cab and Bordeaux heavy.
And Rhone, and he, but he loved Burgundy. And I, you know, the truth is, I won't speak to it because I never fully knew the story. I could recall it. He had a controversy with a couple producers. He stopped reviewing Burgundy. That's why he brought on Pierre Ravani way back when he first introduced another critic. And so what happened was, Burgundy just wasn't that important to the high net worth individuals of America. And then they became it, and then supply and demand kicked in. I believe the same thing will happen to Barolo. So my big prediction here on Heritage Radio Network.
On the Grape Nation.
On the Grape Nation.
Where we're bringing wine to the people.
We're bringing wine to the people.
So the trend is?
The trend is, if you're a collector and you want to buy some wine for your kids' weddings, or like the guy who hosts his shows made some good money on flipping some wine, he made some good bets. I would buy small, tiny production, highly rated, sought after Barolo, Bruno Giacosa, Red Label, stuff like Conterno single vineyards, you know, because I believe that Barolo will become a dominant wine of choice of the next generation because it sits in between that Pinot Noir, Cabernet cycle.
It has the finesse and the complexity.
But the power.
Let's just drop a little knowledge on our
Go ahead.
So Barolo is an Italian wine.
Yes.
It's from the Piedmont section of
Correct.
Italy, which is one of the great wine growing regions.
It's made by Nebbiolo.
The grape is Nebbiolo, where people who know Tuscan wines is predominantly
Sangiovese. That's right.
And it's probably more Burgundian than Bordeaux. It's, you know.
Yes, it's definitely, when you pour it, you can see your fingers through it. But it has a huge amount of power, more so than most Pinot Noirs, and it definitely has an old world style, less fruit, and it's amazing with food, and it's very popular. By the way, if you're a novice, this is a very big time wine. If you're a hardcore wine person listening, you know this grape, you know this region, you know this wine. I just think they're underpriced in the same way that I was.
Go 30 to 100.
Yeah, I mean, some of the,
30, 40,
there's a ton of stuff at 50, 60, 70, and when you go to like 90 and 120, I just think those wines are gonna be 500 and 800 in the next generation.
In their category, they rival wines that are like 2, 3, 4.
That's a really good way to put it. So that's exactly right. An $80 Barolo to me is the equivalent quality value of a $300 Bordeaux, of a $300 Burgundy, of a $200 California Cab, so you can really do some damage in the quality price ratio.
So take that to the bank, because I agree with you. You know, I think that's a good call.
Thank you.
But I have a question. When you say Barolo, is that implying that Tuscan wines, the super Tuscans and all that, have sort of been on the scene and run their course? Or Barolo will sort of...
I think it's going to surpass it. I think it's going to be a very similar thing to collectors that
But they haven't had the run the Tuscans have had, you can say, right?
That's right.
Sassicaia,
That's right.
Elias.
There's
a handful of Barolo
Rick, who just made his first big check at Goldman Sachs at 28, he's going to buy at the restaurant, trying to press the girl that he's trying to hook up with that night, a Tig, a Sassicaia, a Celaya. He's not going to say, hey baby, check out this, you know, Aldo Conterno. Right. You know, and so to me, that's where the opportunity lies.
I think you're right on that. Now,
by the way, Rick's girlfriend in that scenario is Sally.
Okay. All right, so taking that trend, let's talk about trends in social media that affect wine.
Okay.
And the reason I said we'll get to that is you were alluding to it, because I think Burgundy, which was not well covered, was now available on the internet with Berghound and whoever, all these other.
You know, it wasn't Alan Meadows Berghound. It wasn't Tanzer. It was these Robert Parker forums, right? It was Wine Berserkers.
Right.
It was these nerd wine forums and auction
Talking
prices.
From the
that's
street,
right.
literally.
That's right. But by the way, the high class street, the boardroom,
Yeah.
you know.
And it ran the range. I mean,
Yeah.
there were guys that could afford a $400 bottle and a guy that never drank anything.
That's
more
right.
than 60.
That's right. And the communities
So
were formed.
how has social media affected wine?
A lot.
That's a bigger
A lot.
question.
So
What are the obvious
your strikingly handsome son that's with us right now, who's raving to 2 in the morning and hooking up with chicks. I know he doesn't even start it. He doesn't even start his snap. He doesn't even start his snap story until 2.
Yeah.
He, if he didn't know me and you, exactly him. How old are you now? 27. The 27-year-old New Yorker making a couple bucks, going out at night. He's gonna follow 4 or 5 sommeliers and actually produce his knowledge from those people, not from the wine spectator. And so that's how it's changed it, right? He's absolutely now being influenced by Andre Mack or Lauren Maniac or all the somms that now post something. And so he's gonna see a snap or an Instagram review of a wine and he's gonna save it and he's gonna walk into his local wine shop and be like, do you have this? And so that's how.
So the base of people who disseminate information is huge.
Democratized.
They're reputable because they're somms, they're retailers.
100%.
They're people who drink a lot of wine and have a good taste and all of that.
I remember saying something
So
early
that's
on.
a community thing.
It is. It's the internet impact on society in every category. But most of all, it's fun to look back when I said in interviews about Wine Library TV that I was the preview, not the anomaly. As you know, because you follow the space, I got a lot of credit. I was first. I was first on YouTube. That was a good call. I was first. I was the first person to carry a lot of weight in the wine world that wasn't one of the 5 or 6 wine magazines.
For sure.
And so,
Total outlier.
that's right.
Wine Library, all that.
Wine Library TV became this huge thing. I could sell a lot of wine or kill a wine. People bought and drank wine because of what I said, and I was doing it strictly through YouTube. And what I remember being right about was, yeah, I've got some charisma and I've got my thing and I'm gonna be special, but this is gonna happen for everybody. Anybody good enough. And what I also thought, and it played out, was, okay, well, I'm good on video, but as I remember thinking Blogger and WordPress, because those were blogs back then. I didn't really even know I didn't know social media was coming. And so obviously Instagram, as we can all who's listening understand, what an easy platform for anybody to be a wine critic. Take a picture of the label, write 2 sentences, mazel tov.
From a famous sommelier to the guy next door.
That's right.
For sure. All right. So
As a matter of fact, are you creating like the wine that we're about to taste and you taste with other guests?
We have Instagram.
Great.
We'll get to Snapchat.
Okay.
It's just because I'm too old and lazy, but I'll get there. We're on Twitter. We'll get there, don't worry. Ben is helping. All right, so let's...
the only meeting Ben's ever had with me at VaynerMedia was, hey, I don't want to be too pigeonholed as the Snapchat guy. I mean, that's how hardcore he is Snapchat, and you're not...
We haven't done one Snapchat.
Jesus.
All right, so let's move
Where's
away.
Jake?
Let's move away from wine. We had some good insights on wine. Let's talk about, really where you've established yourself of late. Let's start with VaynerMedia. So
Okay.
you built a marketing machine, which I know this because I've been around you from the beginning, basically based on your intuition. You decided, I'm going to build this business. Here's what I'm feeling. This is what I'm going to tell people. Is that an accurate portrayal of what VaynerMedia is?
Yeah, I mean, I am building an agency, full service, does everything, so I can use it for myself and my future business behaviors for my whole life. It's got to be so weird for you, because it was when we first started meeting each other.
When I pitched you for the show, you were down in Tribeca at
Debrosis.
at a group space.
That's right.
Way before there was WeWork and all that.
That's right.
It was an Israeli guy.
That's
as a matter
right,
of fact.
Henny.
And
Sunshine Suites.
And you probably had 12, 14 employees.
That's right.
So tell people how big the agency is
So
now.
back then that's probably right, 7 to 12 people doing, 800,000 a year. And now we're 735 people doing 100 million a year. We've done that in 7 years. So globally, London, the whole thing.
Country.
It's really cool. It's listen. I'm trying to think. I know a lot of people are listening that don't know me, so I'm going to try to hedge on the ego here. I suck at a lot of stuff, but I'm a very good businessman. And if I decide to do something and stick to it,
While I have you here.
yeah.
And I'll see you a lot after this.
Yeah.
And I could use this for the future. Just tell me one thing you suck at.
Oh, a lot of things.
Well, give me one that you really suck at.
Science.
Science, okay. Everyone
Science.
sucks at science.
Running fast.
Okay.
I'm fairly slow.
Okay. Or a white Russian guy.
You know, but to make it, yeah, that's about it. Science and running.
All right. So you have the agency, and I mean, I had been around advertising and marketing a long time. I think the business has changed incredibly. Tell me your duration at VaynerMedia in general, the changes,
Yeah.
the differences.
I mean, the first meetings I walked into, Campbell's, Pepsi, the NHL, they didn't even know what Twitter was. And I don't mean like they hadn't checked it out. It was like, hey guys, you should be on Twitter and Facebook. And they're like, what's Twitter?
So the major part of that answer is as social media was coming into the advertising world.
We were there. I was right.
That was your intuition.
100%.
And that's an important part of the agency.
It's the important part of life, right? It's how I married my wife. It's how I was built the wine business.
What, on the internet?
Yes, J-Date and the intuition of our first date. I was like, this is my wife. That was a great decision. It's how I built Wine Library. I was right about the internet itself. I was right about Spanish Australian wines when nobody wanted to hear it, and then Wild Duck Muck's getting 100 points from Parker. I mean, my narrative is pretty basic. Like, I have a good nose. What I think I do really well is I bet on it. And so like for everybody listening, so this is less about me and more about you, like how about this next year, if you get anything out of the Grape Nation, maybe this inspiring moment, how about for once in your life if you've never done it, or for the people that have done it a couple times but not in a long while, how about just going all in on something you believe in?
Now's the time.
Like what are you waiting for?
You say that all the time.
I believe in it.
And I know you believe in it because that's why you say it. And it's never too late for anyone to go all in.
Look at you.
Look at me.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I love that about you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, don't be humble. You're a character. You know what, guys? Just so everybody knows, he's red as a beet. You're listening to one of the great dudes of all time, and the way he takes compliments makes me laugh. Because if you haven't picked up on it yet, I'm great at taking compliments. I take them very easily, and to be very frank, expect them. But yeah, man, look at you. First of all, you're young. What are you, 54?
No, older.
55.
But we're not going to get it.
Oh, you're 60. Right. Jesus Christ. You're 64.
I'm like your dad.
Yeah, no, you're 61. You're 61. I forgot. No, you're not. You're my mom's age. That's why I'm trying to do the math.
Yeah.
You're 61, and you feel like you're 16 to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to me, that's
what you want to do.
That's
100. Who you want to surround
And by the way,
yourself
I know 61-year-olds that are dead because I come from a country where people died at 60, so a lot of my mom's and dad's contemporaries, they think at 55, you kind of shut it down. I had lunch today with Stephen Ross, my business partner. He owns the Miami Dolphins. He's one of the richest men in the world, right? He's 76. The entire lunch was fire. I was like, listen, if you keep acting this way in modern medicine in 15 years, you're gonna be rolling this hard. He's like, it was funny. I was trying to give him something. He looked at me like, of course at 91 I'm gonna be fucking on fire. Can we curse in the show? Okay.
Yeah. So the nice thing about that is it's easy to talk to a guy like that. That's why you and him are in business together. He can relate to you.
Do you think
He's in awe of you.
Forget about him for a second. Do you think I'd be sitting here if you weren't the same?
No.
It's not a number. It's how you roll. It's what you do. Right. And by the way, let's try to tie this into the show. Can you guys all please do me a favor? If you have not tried a style of wine ever before, go buy that wine tonight. If you've never had a Tanat from Uruguay, if you've never had a Verdejo from Spain, if you've never had a Banyule, which is late harvest Grenache from the south of France, stop anything.
Nouveau Beaujolais.
By the way, Beaujolais Nouveau is dead. It's lost all its momentum. Yeah.
Because Beaujolais is kind of hot.
Well, Beaujolais, Cru Beaujolais, that's real shit.
Right.
So for me, this works in the most micro things like what you drink at wine, and it works at the most macro levels of your life. It's that.
Agreed. All right, so working at Vayner,
yes.
running Vayner,
yes.
Speaking all over the country.
Yeah,
Let's
world.
Just talk
I'm global.
World. This past week, I think you were in Lisbon, London.
That's it.
Crazy. We talked about wine social media trends. just kind of get me up to date with social media trends.
House party.
Really happening today.
House party.
What is house? I know what it is, but tell our listeners.
Well, you tell our listeners. I want to hear you explain it.
Well, I'm not that sure because I haven't embedded, but
Okay.
I watch the kids. I think it's a video platform
Yep.
where multiple people, but
Yep.
limited to a certain number,
Yep.
4, 6, can get on FaceTime and talk together and just, have a good time.
It's
and
what is it, 6 or 8? 8, right? It's an 8.
And
It's
if
up
you
to
know
8
somebody,
people.
they can come in, but the
It's a-
stranger is a connection.
That's
to
right.
some extent.
So it's an 8-person it's an 8-person FaceTime if you want. Think about this. Think about how many times you wanted to watch that football game with all 3 of your buddies, but you're in different places. It's the closest thing to replicating that I've seen, and the onboarding is incredible. Like where House Party's winning. By the way, full disclosure, this app used to be called Meerkat, which I think some people have heard of, and I was an investor in Meerkat. So before I get into like why I believe in it, you should know that. But if you knew anything about me, you would know that I shit on my investments as much as I herald them. They've got something right now, so they're hot.
They have legs, you think?
I don't know. It's early, but it's got traction.
So
it's happening. Marco Polo, which is
another
not
app?
an investment of mine, but another communication app, video, like conversation, like they've got some traction. So there's some new emergers.
Is Snapchat already sort of a mature, they made it, they're going public thing? Or?
Yes, but what's happening is Instagram's feature copies have definitely slowed some of Snapchat's growth. And so it's been fascinating.
But Instagram reacted to Snapchat, right?
100%. But how one reacts is the most important thing.
I'm not
No,
blaming
I know you're not. They've reacted in a way that has been successful. Ben, you have less views on your Snapchat over the last 3 months?
Yeah.
And by the way, from Ben, how many do you get? 150, right. So small numbers to my, tens of thousands pushing 100,000, we've all felt declines. And so, Snapchat's gonna have to address that. On the flip side, Snapchat spectacles and like, there's so many things going on. There's so much stuff going on.
What about everybody talks about Twitter and their survival and what they're doing?
Yeah.
I mean, are they gonna?
I don't know.
I think they may have to change it.
Because they're a public company, I hate to make predictions about Twitter because the board may do something, another company might come in and do a hostile takeover by buying all the stock. Like, I don't know, but I will say this. They didn't innovate enough over a 5-year period and allowed other things to happen, which allowed people to, chip away at their market share. They were never mainstream enough. Normal people never fully understood it.
They didn't pivot when they could have and should have.
Yeah, and I wouldn't call it a pivot. They didn't feature ad. Think about Snapchat. They add shit every day, it feels like. Instagram, look at all these changes. So quick iteration matters in technology companies, and I don't think Twitter did well in that way.
So the future?
Not
remains
bright.
to be seen?
Not bright. But here's what I will say. That Twitter is needed. We need a water cooler of society. So whether Twitter makes it or not, I don't know. But
Can it make it just as that? Because everybody thinks it should be even more.
I do think it can. They need to, again, what Facebook did to MySpace, I think somebody could do to Twitter.
Right.
Looks a lot like it, some different.
But a good example is they were, and you would know better than me, they were sort of on the money with Vine. I mean, it was a hip idea. Was it their inability to kind of carry it through? Or
It was
just
Jack's brilliance as an entrepreneur and CEO to know to buy it. It was very hot.
Very hot. It shut down.
Well, they bought it and they put it into a big company. And you've been in corporate America. You know how that works.
Make it fly.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's talk.
What did
about,
you drink on Thanksgiving?
We had Barolo,
No shit.
which is great with turkey. We had a Turley's Zinfandel.
Very nice.
Which is like a velvet hammer.
Yep.
We had a Pinot Noir.
Was it a
Kiss
Pinot? When did we do one in what? 11?
We did 11.
I created a character named Pinot Gino.
Actually,
It's your Twitter handle
my
logo.
avatar,
Yeah.
my Twitter handle.
That is my drawing. Fun
And
fact.
then we had a 2003 Pave de Cesse Bordeaux.
Oh, that's
Something a little
nice.
heavy at the end.
That's nice.
Alright,
Did
so
you have company?
Just the kids and some friends.
Did the kids bring some friends?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. All right, so let's finish up because we have a few other things to do. Let's talk about Vayner RSE.
Okay.
So you have an opportunity to execute all your experience and go out and invest in companies. and try to build the companies of tomorrow. Tell us a little about it.
It's a fund that I ran the last 2-3 years. All the money's deployed. Me and Steve were partners. We deployed 25. Steve Ross. We deployed 20. Yep. We deployed $25 million. Matt Higgins, Phil Toronto, Kerry Kellogg, Sean Chang, a bunch of people involved on our side. We made a big investment into Snapchat. Good. We made some big investments. Yep. Good. We just had a big. Resi could end up being really good. We just had an exit, Beam, Casey Neistat's company, Neistat, it's a company, I love saying that, to CNN. We've had some Brave.
Casey's huge.
Huge.
The time to
huge.
Move the business.
Brave, which is sold to Turner. We've had a nice little run here. We still have some great companies, Pure
You
Wow.
have people out there, finger on the pulse, looking for the next thing.
Yep.
Ready to invest.
Yep.
Put the money in.
Yep.
Mentor.
Yes, but I definitely never promised that. There's a couple of things, Micmac, an investment we made, I'm on the board, so I'm doing that. But my time is such an issue, and so I never wanted to bullshit anybody and say we're gonna overly mentor. But I do, and I meet with my startups, but not to that level. That may be a chapter in my career in the future.
Right.
But right now I'm just too busy operating VaynerMedia. And then,
well,
please.
Last thing.
Yes.
And it's sort of exciting because of what we like and what we do. Vayner Sports.
Yes.
Which is sort of the newest
Vayner thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
My brother AJ left VaynerMedia in March or May, and we're now doing Vayner Sports. It's Jerry Maguire. We're sports.
Sports management.
That's right. We'll do the marketing for them as well. Help them get sponsorship deals. And we think we got something. We have analyzed the agency world. We think that a lot of sports agents do not do enough by the talent.
Rip their faces off.
I want to rip their faces off. That's exactly right. Thank you for using one of my favorite terms.
Are there any parallels to looking for the next company for Vayner RSE and looking for the next athlete for Vayner Sports?
That's exactly right. And much like VaynerMedia really disrupted an established industry, I want to do the same in Vayner Sports. I want Vayner Sports to be a real player against CAA and Rock Nation and things of that nature. And so I'm really excited about it. Obviously,
it's about a year old.
Yeah, it's not even. It's really not even. This is really our first class. It was called Symmetry Sports. AJ and I bought the majority stake.
Acquired?
We did. Mook, Williams, and Brian, and so they are partners, and they are the actual registered NFL agents. And so it's really exciting.
Nice.
Yeah.
We wish you only good luck.
Well, thank you. I mean, how fun is it when we eventually rep a jet?
Well, just full disclosure, we were at the Jet tailgate, and one of your
Yes.
signees was there.
Yes, Vernon.
From a big college,
Yeah.
Oregon, QB, big position.
Big time, yeah.
He's
in the CFL, great kid.
You're right. You're on.
He was on today's Dailyvee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right. So
Yes.
That's the business part of it. I do a thing every week called the wine list, and I don't want to leave without you doing a wine list.
Okay.
It's something.
Let's do it.
So I'm going to ask you a bunch of spontaneous
Let's do it.
questions. Some are pretty pedestrian. All right. They're wine related. So what wine are you drinking now? Is there something? Is Barolo the answer?
No, this is gonna blow people's mind if they follow my career. I am drinking California Chardonnay.
What? Give me some makers.
What am I drinking? A bunch of.
Aubert, Kistler, Kongsgaard.
I'm drinking
Crain.
Aubert. I've been drinking a bunch of Aubert. I've been drinking a bunch of.
Pinot Noir.
No, yes, I actually have been drinking a little bit of
Those are all
Pinot.
expensive.
Yeah, these are. I'm an expensive character. Sabragia, which
yes,
makes
Sabragia, the
some
old
nice single vineyards. Here's one that everybody can find.
Francia?
Yes, Franciscan Cuvée Sauvage. So Kutz family. So for some reason, a style of wine I made fun of for a decade.
You're ordering in restaurants or popping up at home?
And thrilled, and
Or at the
could care
beach house?
Patson Hall, and thrilled if somebody makes fun of me because I'll punch them in the face. So California Chardonnay, I'm proud of it. There's something that's hitting my palate right now that works for me.
Nice. Unusual answer for you.
Yep.
All right, give me a favorite wine and food pairing.
I would go with late harvest Riesling from the Alsace and Captain Crunch cereal.
Okay, sweet on sweet.
Sweet on sweet.
All right.
Sweet
I
squared.
can pretty much guarantee the listeners that that's the only
time you'll ever hear that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Favorite wine restaurant or wine bar? Is there a place in the city that's impressed you? I mean, you're out a lot.
I am. Historically, it was Cru and Veritas.
Right, the big wine guy.
Those were just so fun for me. That was the prime of my career, and they were big wine restaurants. I love when Terroir popped up. He crushed it. He's the best.
Still got a couple of them.
Trying to think, I feel like there was actually something that kind of really took me aback, and I was impressed. Whatchamacallit, Charlie Bird has a fun list.
Yes.
He's also
Robert
Beast, and Robert
Wars,
Kane from
Rock
Crew.
Star,
Yeah, I mean, I would say those stand out.
All right, favorite all-time wine. I may be able to answer this.
Go ahead.
Tell me if I have it.
Go ahead.
A Salon Champagne.
So that's true. I would tell you that 82 Salon Champagne is,
Up there.
and I've said that in the past. The fanciest wine as my favorite wine is 47 Cheval.
47 Cheval Blanc.
But I was young.
You'd like to get that back.
I would. I was young, and I feel like I forced it. You know how like ugly dudes get really hot chicks when they're
literally
famous?
have to explain things
Right.
to me.
So
got it.
yeah, so I feel like I was sold on the brand of it. And so 82 Salon, I think you did a great job there. I would say that is way up there. 85 Sassicaia, even though I razzed Tuscany a little bit earlier.
All right, so good answers. Let's
Yeah.
move to the next one.
Okay.
Reach back to your retail experience
Okay.
and your current knowledge.
Yes.
Because my listeners love this one. Best wine under $15. Give me a red and a white.
Best wine under
If a
50.
guy
Yeah,
like Ben
I got
could
it.
go over to dinner with 2 bottles, cost them $30, and they drink more expensive than they taste, what's the wines he should be carrying?
Oh, you know what? Where's my phone? Ben, give me my phone. Actually, I'm gonna answer. So let me buy myself some time because I'm actually gonna give you a specific one. For sure, and you know, I haven't wavered on this 10 years later, Portuguese red wines are incredible.
Okay, Portuguese red, great value.
And I think those are
What
incredible.
is the predominant grape?
So, Touriga Nacional,
Okay.
which is nerdy, and I apologize for that. So, Foxglove Chardonnay, $12, available nationwide, really good, super high on that. And then Promio Malbec, Proemio, $11. Malbec.
Drinks. Malbec's a great heavy.
Great.
wine.
I know that Ben, lives in
Argentina
Argentina
guy.
or whatever his name is, So I'm a big fan of that. $11.
All right, those are good ones.
Thank you.
All right, last question.
Yes.
Best wine app out there today?
I'm an investor in Delectable, but it seems that Vivino has won that game. Seems like everybody uses it. I see it all the time.
So Delectable was around first.
I don't know, to be very
think
honest
it
with you.
was.
I don't know.
And then Vino came around. I think you're
It's
right.
Vivino, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people that I know
100%.
have shifted to
Yeah.
Vino.
And Vivino's always had a little bit of a lead, and now it has a macro lead.
Right. All right. So will you stay with us for our weekly wine sip? We're going to taste the delicious wine.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to the Grape Nation. We've been talking to Gary Vaynerchuk, and we'll be right back. So Gary, I've known for a while, is probably the most astute wine taster I know. He has an incredible nose and palate. So we're gonna let Gary, we're gonna take a sniffy sniff, and then we're gonna throw it over the tongue, and let's talk about what we're looking at and drinking.
So this is such an iconic wine. First of all, thanks for sharing it. The color's black, dark, unbelievably,
13-year-old wine.
which is incredible because it usually loses some of that intensity.
Rust on the edge.
On the nose, it's got hardcore black jam, a little hint of
Heavy black.
really black, by the way, like super juicy, feels like you're smelling red fruit, blueberries, blackberries, black fruit as well for that reason.
Currants.
A little hint of tobacco on the nose, on the tail end, you get a little smoke.
Graphite charcoal smoke.
Yep, 100%. Whether it's a match or a little bit of tobacco, it depends on your nose, that's what you'll get. On the palate,
Mouthfeel.
so this is interesting, right? I don't know for D-Rock, you and Ben, depending on where your wine palates are, you can feel a little bit of the tannins on the back end, but they're so soft.
They are very soft.
And usually it's bitter.
Tell people what the tannins are.
It's you know how you that puckery, tough flavor you taste when you taste red wine.
From the skins, the seeds, the stems.
Yeah, all the stuff that isn't the fruit, as you can imagine. And by the way, very easy, even if you're underage, to learn this. Go take a grape, eat the skin versus eating the actual grape. That transcends into red wine. It gets bitter. If you remember the old bitter beer face commercials, which I thought was really funny, by the way. Anyway, nonetheless, what's great about this is what aged wine's all about. This wine, 8, 9, 10 years ago, would have felt hot on the back end because the alcohol and that's, of course. So this is an elegance. You know what this is? This is like a 42-year-old distinguished gentleman who's got a little gray coming in.
Still handsome.
Right? Still handsome. Like was an absolute like boy band rock star, handsome at 19, heartthrob.
Timberlake?
Timberlake would be a great comp. 42-year-old Justin Timberlake is what this wine is. And so I like that. It's balanced, long finish. I'm still tasting it. And much like 42-year-old Justin Timberlake, and he's happily married, so I don't want to wish this on him, but still has plenty of game, right? This wine can probably last another 15 years easily
in the bottle.
Having the fruit in the bottle. I mean, it's really good.
So if we had to look at traditional ratings,
yes,
it's 100 or whatever, where do we slot this one?
If I was doing Wine Library TV, I'd probably score this wine 96 plus points.
Which is high for you.
Very.
You know, 92, 93 is a damn good wine.
This is
we drank a Spotswood on Grape
yes.
Wine and Web.
Yes.
I think he gave it a 99.
It was
one of the most profound
it was great.
Cabernets.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you for tasting it with us. What would this pair with? Bloody red meats?
Pittsburgh styled black and blue.
Black and blue, like, red on the inside and all that. All right. If you have a question, a wine happening, or an event, hit me up at sam@grapenation.com. That's Sam at Grape Nation. Follow us on Twitter at Benrubi and Instagram at sbenrubi. Thank you to our guest, Gary Vaynerchuk, for taking time out of his very busy schedule to join us on the Grape Nation.
Yep.
Heritage Radio Network is a member-supported nonprofit radio station devoted to all things food and wine. Heritage needs your support during the big end-of-year fundraiser. A contribution in any amount not only supports HRN's 34 weekly programs, but also comes with exclusive member benefits. So if you like good food and wine, and you love good food and wine radio, throw a little dough our way, will ya? Okay?
Will ya?
You can go to heritageradionetwork.org/donate. That's heritageradionetwork.org/donate. David, my engineer, is showing me a t-shirt. You can get t-shirts, pot holders, all kinds of...
Couple things I gotta run because I'm missing a family, school, my daughter's school function.
All right.
That's how much I love you. But here, 2 things. 1, David's amazing. 2, I really wish you could recall my first live radio read commercial, which was an utter disaster.
And by the way,
I want to give you depth.
You document in Ask Garyvee how you overcame that.
So Benrubi, this wonderful man that you're listening to, runs in after the first one. I crush the creative, but then we get to the commercial.
You're a guy that has no, lack of being verbose.
Nothing. I crush the creative, and it gets to the commercial time. I take the paper. This is something true. I can't read, meaning like I'm not good at it. So I read this ad. It is literally the worst execution of my career in public. No, it was like, Stella beer is a beer. It was the worst. It goes to commercial. I'm like, holy crap, that was the worst thing I've ever done publicly. He runs into the booth and he goes, listen to me. Stern never read it either. He just did stuff. The next time you do this, look at it right now, make some notes, just do your thing. The next time I came around, I don't know, maybe all-time great?
Rock star.
All-time great.
Rock star.
I love you, man.
All right, thank you, Gary.
Talk to you soon.
I'm Sam Benrubi, and you've been listening to the Grape Nation. We'll see you next time.